I have this core values questionnaire. So if you do have a team and you want them to kind of create these scenarios and help you brainstorm what to do, you can send them this questionnaire, and that kind of 5-paragraph essay that's right there basically tells them what they're doing, why they're doing it, how to do it right, how to do a good job. So you guys will all have access to this. I'll put a QR code up on the last slide, and then I'm sure we can work with Mike to make sure it's available to everybody. And then there's the questionnaire, and once you know what your core values are, and discovering core values is an exercise in and of itself, but if you know what those values are, you just stick them in the template. It's just a Google form, and tell me about a time somebody exemplified the core value. Tell me about a time somebody failed to exemplify it. It just does that for every core value, and it just gives you something to brainstorm off of. This is the resource here, Dave. So it's really cool, looks great. This was a guy named Sean on my team. Dude's like an Excel whiz, if you can't tell already. But basically you put all your questions, your answers in, you click the little radio buttons, and it'll select whether they were good or bad. And then there's a second sheet that kind of is a summary. And on that second sheet, you can see whatever the core value is, and you can sort it by the response, or you can sort it by the core value. So you can see, like, okay, for easy button, we had a good and a moderate plus, and we got a little plus minus delineation, so we can just add a little bit more context to it. But from come from curiosity, they had a moderate and a bad, so we're out of here. But it's interesting to see, did they have a lot of goods and bads, or were they kind of middle of the road? And then you have to sort of decide what's going to be a good fit for you. For me, I like to see at least one good response for every core value. Because if you don't have a good response, you're not going above and beyond for that core value or whatever that attitude is, and you're just kind of middle of the road. And there's a difference between like having a core value and like not having it. And it makes a difference if they're not going to like exemplify that. We only have one question for what we call work the system, but you would see that one's in the moderate, which we could kind of debate about. But this is cool. You can kind of set a standard. You can say percent of ratings that were at least moderate, or percent of ratings that were at least good minus, things like that. And then lastly, I want to say thank you to everybody who helped out. And your big takeaways, if there's like one or two things you guys are going to take away from here, some people are finding my Easter egg. You've got a behavioral fit and attitudinal fit are responsible for roughly half of your failed hires. So don't focus on the technical skills too much. See if the person is going to actually be a culture and attitude fit. And then ask intentional interview questions and know what you're looking for in the response. If you don't know what you're looking for, then you don't know if it's a good or a bad response, and you're just kind of going off a gut.